Hello, everyone, and welcome to NLBP TV. Today we are at the Lee and Me Show. I am Camille Miller, the founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership, and my co-host Lee Gabarzik of Soulful Mandelas out of Long Valley, New Jersey. Hi, Lee.
Hello, Camille.
And today we are going to talk about, I'm calling it allowing, but you're calling it, it's okay to like not know,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. You want to start us off on
Sure.
some of your concepts that you were talking about before?
Yeah. I was really relating this to kind of the stuff that we talked about connected to Buddhism, but basically, the challenge, because I don't really know. I mean, I work as an intuitive, and I can speculate all I want about what I think may happen. The fact of the matter is, I really do not know. I don't know what it is that may be happening, especially with some of the events that have been occurring and internationally, not just here in the US, but other places. I
Yeah.
really don't know necessarily what's going to occur. And not knowing for many people is a state of consciousness that can be very, very anxiety provoking because they're used to defining things in a way that gives them a sense of belonging, clarity,
Control.
predictability, control.
Yeah.
Control, that's very good, absolutely. And because they're coming from that state of consciousness, they're constantly rolling out and projecting what it is that they already believe and then manufacturing that experience
Right.
and instead of allowing, like you were saying, allowing things to naturally just sort of come to the surface, that is a much more creative thing by not projecting or being attached to some kind of concept or idea that then leads to defensiveness and conflict and all sorts of crazy things. And it's understandingly human that we would want to kind of, you know, how much money will I have at the end of the month, and and what will happen, like who's going to be coming to the party, and
Yeah.
what's going on with the trip itinerary and all of that. Well, that's fine. I mean, there's a certain amount of things that if we have some kind of influence over them and we want to be our own advocate, please do. But when we are in a state, particularly, I find my greatest growth occurs when I am allowing,
Yeah.
because I do believe that at the very heart of spiritual experience is
Yeah.
trusting and relaxing and letting go.
Right.
And those things are so incredibly hard to do. And they get written off as like, oh, just let go. Well, it's an idea that a lot of people are very comfortable with talking about, but the actual, or maybe just using the words of that, but actually doing that is very, very scary in some ways, because now other things could happen that I may not want to happen, or other things might develop that maybe I'm not really like on board with. But if I'm acting like I have it all figured out, and if I have some kind of like overarching concept of what the world's about, and I'm really living a very limited life, because I'm only living within a very small egocentric view of the world, and then
Yeah.
I'm constantly defending that and saying, no, this is right, and no, you're wrong, and no, this
Your
is
own
how you.
boundaries. And you're
Yeah, yeah,
creating your boundaries, which is limiting your belief system.
yeah.
And it's only based on what you know, not what you don't know
We're
or can
creating
experience.
definitions.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the ways in which one of the questions that really kind of showcases definitions of self are the way in which we see ourselves, the words that we use to describe that, the self-talk that we use to describe that. And am I willing to see this a different way? Am I open? Where is my flexibility? Am I able to hear another person's point of view about this? Can I hear another person's point of view without being defensive?
Yeah.
How do
People
I
have lost
feel
that skill
the conflict?
completely.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
that is,
well, I,
when I go on.
I was just gonna say, I think, well, today I think everyone's crazy, but and they're just, like what they call those keyboard warriors. They have to defend everything, whether they know what they're defending or
Yeah.
not, right? They've only heard one side and they're defending that. I see a lot of that. But I think
Mhm.
allowing, as like I call it allowing, um, is a very difficult skill to get good at. So I've mentioned before that I'm a recovering control addict. So the hardest thing to do is just give up control. But there are nights, especially like lately, because I'm changing some things in my business, that I just don't know the answer. And to go to bed and just say, okay, the answer will reveal itself. Like I don't have to think about this. And I always tell my clients, especially my personal clients, to be open and curious, to see what's being
Yeah.
brought to you and without judging it first, right? Because as
Yes.
soon as things are brought to you, that's where opportunity lies.
Absolutely.
That.
And
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So just to be open and curious to everything that's brought forward, and that's where you can start to see and judge and know. And um, it's just such a beautiful way to live. But
yeah.
I will say it's very hard to get to that place. It was very hard for me, but I've accomplished it pretty well. Or if I'm starting to get angry or something's not right, I always have to step back and say, why am I coming from it, from an ego place? Like, what is
Yes.
that within me that's creating that? And if
Yes.
I just allow more opportunity to come to me and just be grateful for the ones that maybe come to me that I'm not that happy about.
Yes. The ego idea to me is really kind of it's sort of summed up in a like a uncompromising or an inflexible view. In other words, I have it in my head what I think it is, and at that point, then anything that's counter to that is then defended against.
Hmm.
And then when I can see my what those issues may be, as we were talking about earlier, in my defensive reaction.
Yeah,
If I'm defensive, that's a great opportunity to think, well, what is it that I feel is being challenged here?
right.
Or what is it that I'm not, what is it that I'm holding on to that I'm not willing to address or see? And at that point, if I can kind of, let myself be more flexible, I have an opportunity for growth because now there's something coming into the conversation that I hadn't considered that just opens up a
Yeah.
whole world of possibilities.
Which is kind of fun too.
It is.
I try to look at it as being fun. Like in the beginning, it was hard. It was really
It's
hard.
a game. It's like the
But
game.
now I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen today. And especially, I was having a conversation actually last night with some friends because New Jersey opened up last night with outside dining,
Yep, yep,
right? So it was the first time we were let out of our cages in months. And we went to our local beer brewery and said hi to all the owners and everyone there. And then we walked over to a restaurant and had outside dining over there. And I was just having the conversation. They don't come from the soulful place I come from, but it was my truth. And I was like, it's going to be so exciting to see new people kind of come out of the woodworks or people that have changed during this time. And I do believe that the world is so open to possibility in this next month as we start to acclimate again and start to figure out like where do we go from here, right? We've all been in our cages, now where
yes,
do we go? Like,
yep.
and what paths are we choosing? And I said it'd be so awesome just kind of get around and meet new people and kind of do things in a different way going forward. So I don't know. I always look at everything as
One
opportunity.
of the yes, yeah, and opportunity and adventure. So one of the ways in which it really shows openness expresses itself is if I'm on a vacation.
Yeah.
So if I'm on a vacation, and let's say I'm in a place where I've never been before, maybe I'm in some kind of other country, and I have no idea. What happens? I start noticing more. I find myself personally more engaged with people than I normally would be. I start talking about and looking at things like, oh, that's how they do their coffee, or that's how they do their whatever, their breakfast. And I start looking at it, and all of a sudden I'm really like open and engaged. And one of the things, this actually even reflects to time. one of the reasons that people have theorized that time actually feels like it's moving quicker is because we're not present to what's happening in the way that we were when we were children. When we're a child, the imprinting of the experience has such incredible nuance and complexity. It has so much information that we're absorbing, that we're processing it through a different timeline. When we get older, we don't look at the flowers. We just go, oh, no flowers. You know, if I were to say to someone who didn't know anything about anything connected to flowers, I said, look, you see that right there? That thing in a short period of time, it's going to grow. And then a little yellow thing is going to come out of it. And then after that yellow thing is done, some seeds are going to come out. It's going to become white. It's going to go poof. It's a dandelion. And they'd be like, oh my God, you're a genius. Well, it's just, but then now when I look at it, I just don't even think twice about it. I go, oh yeah, dandelion. Oh yeah, tree. Oh yeah, winter. Oh yeah, you know, spring. Oh yeah. And I'm not engaging in it because I'm constantly projecting my judgments and my concepts about what things are in such a way that takes me out of the true experience of the moment, where there's all of this happening just like there was when I was just born. All of those subtleties are happening, those scents, those incredible, beautiful imagery comes from nature, etc., and just from being alive. And part of that experience then comes from, I am willing to see, that's like the phrase, I'm willing to see this differently is so important. I am
I
willing
like
to see
that.
it
It's a
differently.
good affirmation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And living in that is a kind of a way of operating. Just to kind of like continue to,
Alexa just
I
said,
heard.
I'm adding that affirmation to your shopping list.
That's great.
That's
Thank you, Alexa, for
scary.
that. Yes, I know it is pretty frightening. But all of those kinds of, you know, all of those kinds of like new ways of seeing things, new ways of looking at things, really bring into consciousness a depth and a kind of a greater kind of not just integrity or integration, really.
Hmm.
It's kind of like I'm integrated. My root system isn't just one little like single thing. My root system through engagement is very, very,
Yeah,
very, very
yeah.
good. What I mean by that is that I'm accessing energy, information, ideas, concepts, and I'm constantly learning and challenging myself by reflecting on those and saying, oh yeah, you know, I was, oops, wrong about that, or didn't think about that before. Oops, I've been doing that for a long time. That doesn't work. And, you
Yeah.
know, and recently there's some things that I've discovered that I was totally wrong about. And I find that really, really, and I had a kind of like a, ooh, now I really feel like a failure. I missed that. How did I miss that? But part of being human, part of being like in the adventure of it, if you would, is really like accepting that mistakes are just a natural part of the experience, that they're just part of our growth, just like we were when a kid. That's why children are such an incredible, represent these concepts so beautifully, because they constantly ask questions ad nauseum in some cases. They're constantly like running around, doing what they do in some kind of adventure, you know, I want to have fun. Like, what's this? You know, it's like, ooh, I'm in Argentina. I've never been here before. Let's explore. What are the trees like? What are the plants like? It's lovely. But that kind of open-ended engagement is just incredibly nurturing to spirit.
Yeah. I love that. And I was just thinking when you go on vacation, you allow everything to just absorb because
Yeah.
you're there to relax. Where you can't really do that. I
Yes,
think in
you're
your own
there to relax,
environment, you're very controlled.
and you're there. Yeah, and you're a guest. Is another guest of them. You know, I'm
Yeah.
their guest. I am a guest of whatever place I'm visiting. And what I'm doing is I'm approaching it as a guest and then appreciating all of the gifts that come to me as a guest of that place.
Yeah.
Now imagine if I could see all of my life as operating like that. How cool is that? If I could just see it as what a wonderful gift to be here. And isn't the planet Earth a lovely place to experience? And I'm so glad that I'm a guest here.
I love that.
A way of looking at it that's really kind of cool. It just came to mind. Yeah, it's interesting. Even in these discussions, even these discussions have inherent within them. If I want to understand what it is that I am thinking or feeling, or how well I know a certain topic, talk about it.
Yeah.
And when I talk about the concept, I go, whoops, I really don't know that one at all. Need to need to adjust. Or I can see, wow, I really seem to feel very comfortable in the
Yeah.
experience of that while still being open-minded, etc. Right? So all of that kind of like engaged participation without judgment, through experience, through seeing it as an adventure, through seeing it through a state of allowing, as being a guest to this beautiful place we call the universe. Yay.
Yay. We'll wrap it up right there,
Right.
Lee. That's beautiful. If you loved this Lee and Me show, please subscribe to our channel if you're watching this on YouTube or our podcast, and let us know if there's any topic that you'd like us to discuss at thenaturallife.org. Thanks, Lee, for another great episode.
Thank you, Camille.
Bye-bye.